Hi, and welcome to the University of Houston SURE Program online application orientation video. If you are a University of Houston student, please stop and email sure@uh.edu about how to participate in the SURE program. If you are not a University of Houston student and you either want to start a small business or grow your small business, then this is the video for you. Let's jump right in. In this video, I, Charlie Becker, the Managing Director of the SURE program, will be speaking to people who are interested in the SURE program at the University of Houston. Please finish the video, read the video description, and watch any other videos or read any other materials before submitting your application. The objective for today's video can be split into 4 different areas, which are the 4 different areas of this presentation. First, we're going to detail the reasons for joining the SURE program, meaning what you could get out of SURE and why people have joined in the past. Then we're going to explain what is the SURE program, how it works, how it helps you, and what it requires of you. After that, we're going to share 4 lessons from the SURE program. The learning starts today. We're going to talk about the mindset behind SURE, how to write an elevator pitch, and how to make a business model canvas. At least the first 2 parts of it. Then finally, we're going to tell you how to apply to the SURE program. Reasons for joining the SURE program. Maybe you want to start a business. You may ask yourself, how do I know if a business idea is a good one? What am I going to sell, and why will people buy it from me instead of competitors? How am I going to market, advertise, and sell my products or services? What kinds of insurance do I need for the business? How will I organize my personal finances to maximize my business profits? And what is the best way to legally organize my business? As a sole proprietorship, LLC, or corporation? Maybe you want to grow an existing business. You may ask yourself, how do I enter new markets? How do I acquire new customers? Am I paying all the correct taxes and taking advantage of the right tax benefits? What is the best way to advertise online? How do I hire and train new people? Should they be employees or contractors? How can I find funding to grow my business? Maybe you need money to fund business growth, a business that you have already started and are running. You may ask, what type of funding is available for my business? Who can I trust to enter into a funding relationship with? How do I prove that my business is worth funding? How do I structure paying back the money my business is funded with? One way to answer all of these questions and more is to write a great business plan. The SURE program is a free program at University of Houston where you will learn to write an excellent business plan. Applications are open to all people from all parts of the Houston community. SURE receives over 500 applications and admits around 120 people per semester. You will meet with a student mentor from the business school or another part of University of Houston and see guest lectures once a week for up to 16 weeks. Once accepted, again, all this is free. Participants receive the education and mentoring necessary to write a specifically tailored, professional-level business plan, but the one catch is they must do the work. Most of you watching this video are probably adults, and many of you have probably not been in school for a long time, but doing the homework when you're not in class is crucial to staying in and finishing the SURE program. It is so crucial that not doing work results in dismissal from the program. Now that you know what you need to do, you may ask, what will you get out of the program? Well, the first way to answer that question is skills. This is a picture from our SURE program graduation years ago. Everyone is excited because they finished the work and made it through the program. Each person in the audience now can say they've learned about a lot of things and gained certain skills. Skills in the area of personal finance, accounting, strategy, marketing, sales, business finance, and pitching. All of the things that an entrepreneur needs to know how to do in order to be successful. Furthermore, you'll be able to write an elevator pitch, find and read a credit report, make a monthly budget, calculate your net worth, complete and use a business model canvas, capture and categorize business transactions, create and read financial statements, design and use a SWOT analysis, build a basic funnel, design a sales process, pitch for funding from banks and investors, and many, many more. On top of all that, several local politicians and institutions recognize the excellence that is produced in the SURE program, so you will receive a certificate of commendation upon completion from people like City of Houston Controller Chris Brown, City of Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, or Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. You will also build your network in the SURE program. Over the course of the semester, you will meet many people like those in the photo here. People who are consultants, entrepreneur alumni who have been through the program like yourself, SCORE mentors who are executives who have retired and now donate their time to help small businesses succeed, banking mentors who are currently employed at banks and will be great connections for you to find funding for your business, expert lecturers who come in on topics as diverse as pitching, accounting, marketing, law, and others, and finally success stories, those entrepreneur alumni and local entrepreneurs who have truly distinguished themselves in the area of business excellence. Last but not least, you'll get intangibles. Things that are harder to quantify and explain, but are just as, if not more important than the skills, knowledge, and network you've accumulated. Things like motivation, self-discipline, self-confidence, and other transferable skills that are not readily apparent. You will get the ability to advocate for yourself, most importantly, and start you on the path of owning or running the business of your dreams, even if it is not the same one that you apply to the SURE program with, such as this gentleman in the picture here, the official SURE caterer, Big Rick, who said, "Blessing upon blessing upon blessing when you stop fighting and walk into your purpose." That's what we want to do in the SURE program, is help you walk into your purpose with the skills, knowledge, and network to help you succeed. Big Rick is not the only one who has good things to say about the SURE program. I encourage you here to pause the video for a moment and read some of these testimonials from other SURE program entrepreneurs. But please, do not forget to come back and watch the rest of the video. Now you may be asking, what exactly is the SURE program? How does it work? Where did it come from? Simply put, SURE is an innovative educational platform that facilitates a value-added partnership between University of Houston students, under-resourced entrepreneurs, and the Houston business community, like owner of the Breakfast Club, Marcus Davis, pictured here, a frequent speaker at the SURE program. SURE has two goals: to train students in the human-centered skills they need, like empathy, entrepreneurial mindset, critical thinking, and leadership, and also to economically empower entrepreneurs and under-resourced communities. A student is someone enrolled in seeking a degree or certificate at University of Houston or one of the University of Houston system schools. If you are watching this video, you are most likely a current or potential entrepreneur. What do we mean when we say under-resourced entrepreneurs? It is actually a term borrowed from City of Houston Mayor's Sylvester Turner's Complete Communities Initiative. The idea is that Houston has one of the strongest local economies in the country and maybe the world. However, the prosperity being built in Houston is not evenly distributed and does not accumulate evenly across the city. There are certain communities where structural inequities have meant that resources do not penetrate as deeply into these communities. Resources such as educational resources, financial resources, and informal networks. Often, some of the best ideas and most successful businesses come from these communities, but because they are under-resourced, it is difficult to get these business ideas off the ground and into reality. For up-to-date impact numbers, check the video description. However, I can tell you that these under-resourced entrepreneurs who have come through the SURE program have launched hundreds of successful businesses across the Houston area that are still thriving today. So how exactly does it work? Well, accepted entrepreneurs are put in groups of 2 to 3 and assigned a student consultant. This gentleman in the blue jacket with the red lanyard is a student, and the 5 people at the table with him are the entrepreneurs he's working with. During the week, entrepreneurs and their student consultants will read readings, watch videos, and listen to podcasts about that week's topic, then take small diagnostic quizzes and have group discussions and reviews. During class, there will be a lesson for everyone together. Generally, an expert will come and give a summary lecture, then do an advanced question and answer session. This is what it looks like when the class happens in person. During the week, alongside preparing for the next class, each entrepreneur will do homework assignments. At the end of the semester, all those assignments add up to a business plan, which is presented on pitch day. So what do you need to do to prepare? Well, if you have a good attitude and you're willing to do the work, you don't need to do a lot of studying, but the class is completely online for now. So there are some logistical preparations you need to make. You need to make sure you have regular internet access, a smartphone, a computer, a camera for video conferencing, and this could be the camera on your phone or computer, and a quiet place you can participate in video lectures on Monday evenings. Do not attend the class from a public place or a place where there will be other people around during the class. It will be distracting to you and the other people you will be working with. You also need to create a free account with Google, such as Gmail, and with Zoom, and to find a podcast app of your choosing. Most phones come with a free podcast app installed already. Online also means more interactive materials and more expert help than ever before, so please make sure that you have these things so that we can give you all of the fantastic resources which we have available to educate you. So what does the program require of participants? As many alumni are fond of saying, the program doesn't cost money, but it isn't free. First, you must be online and available each Monday from September through November from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and meet once each week with your consultant. We recommend these meetings take place online for the fall 2021 semester. If accepted into the SURE program, you will be writing a business plan concerning your business. If you have multiple businesses or multiple ideas for businesses, you need to pick a single business or business idea with which to enter the class and write your business plan. If accepted into the SURE program, you will be expected to do homework when not in class. This homework could take up to 8 hours per week. The average time spent is 4 hours per week, but you need to make sure that you have the time to commit to this program before you enroll. If you are accepted into the SURE program, there is a very strict attendance policy. After 2 absences, an entrepreneur is automatically dropped from the program. An absence means not attending the Monday online class. The SURE program will introduce you to bankers, funders, and experts. but at no time during the program will money be given out to SURE program participants. The SURE program is an educational experience. Each participant is allowed and encouraged to talk about their business as much as they want, but the class itself is a sales-free zone, and entrepreneurs who consistently try to sell to other entrepreneurs during the course of the class will be dropped. You are required to do follow-up surveys after you graduate and on an annual basis afterwards, as a condition of being enrolled in the SURE program. And so now the learning starts. We're going to share with you 4 lessons from the beginning of the SURE program. The first lesson is 5 assumptions about ideas, funders, knowledge, presentation, and nonprofits. Then we're going to show you how to write an elevator pitch, which you may have heard of before, but we have a special way we like to do it here at SURE. After that, we're going to teach you how to do the value proposition section of the business model canvas in brief, very quickly, not an exhaustive lesson. And finally, the target customer section of the business model canvas. The first and most important assumption that mostly applies to people who have not launched their business yet is that nobody wants to steal your idea. We're going to start off here with a little bit of tough love. A lot of people, especially people who have just been talking about doing the same business forever and ever, but not launching yet, is concerned that if they tell people about their idea, someone's going to steal it. And the truth is, ideas are worthless without execution. It literally takes no effort to come up with an idea. Most people don't even have to work to come up with ideas. They just pop into their head without them doing anything at all. An idea is totally worthless. You might say, not my idea, it's not worthless. Well, if you can get someone to pay you for your idea, please send me an email at sure@uh.edu and I will eat crow. But until then, most people are not going to steal your idea, because starting a business takes lots of work, time, and money. And I have some bad news for you. If someone from here, one of the 20 richest people on the planet, or someone similar, wants to steal your idea, the truth is, you do not have the lawyers who can keep them from doing so. Because if somebody has the money to capitalize your idea and it's that good, there's really not a lot that you can do to stop them. So, if they have enough money to steal it and make it work, there's not much you can do anyway. Ideas are worthless, execution is what matters. Literally the only thing that you can do to protect your idea is to do it first and do it better. There's nothing to stop someone from coming along and taking your idea. And the truth is, almost nobody wants to take your idea because they don't want to take the 10 years or 5 years or 2 years of tremendously difficult work that it's going to take to make that idea a reality. So if not your idea, then what? How will you get funding for your business? What do funders look for? The truth is, funders do not give money to businesses out of the goodness of their own heart or because an idea is good. Funders want chic businesses. Chic, C-H-I-C, is an acronym that stands for 4 different things. First, a funder is letting you rent their money. They give you their money and you pay them to use it, and then you give it back. So the first and most important thing they want to know is your credit. If your credit is not good, that's okay. We're going to teach you about personal credit and how to fix it. However, your credit score is your report card on how well you deal with money. If your friend, who is always crashing her car and getting tickets, asks to borrow your car, you wouldn't let her use it. So if your credit score is not good, banks don't want to let you use their money. Second, your history. What about your background and skills and knowledge and the people you know make you especially qualified to run this business? If you join the SURE program, that becomes a part of your history, and funders will look at you in a new light. However, they will still want to know why you specifically deserve their money and should run this business. Then, industry. What exactly is your business going to do and in what industry? How many other businesses are doing that? What does the growth look like? The truth is, if the best business person in the world wanted to start a typewriter company, she would probably still have a lot of problems finding funding because there's just not a lot going on in the typewriter industry in 2021. Finally, most importantly, cash flow. How are you going to raise money? The reason people fund businesses again is because they want more money back than they are giving that person. So they want to know your plan for making money and giving them back more money than they're giving you. That is what funders want, chic businesses. Third, we're going to talk about knowledge. If you see this cartoon here, the gentleman on the left is trying to give directions to the gentleman on the right, but clearly what he's saying and what the other guy is hearing are not quite working out. This gentleman on the left is suffering from what's called the curse of knowledge. It is the problem that once we know something, say the melody of a song or the way to get somewhere, we find it hard to imagine not knowing it. Our knowledge has cursed us. We have difficulty sharing it with others because we can't readily recreate their state of mind. They did a famous experiment many years ago where they divided people up into two groups, tappers and listeners. And the tappers were told to tap on the table and not hum or make any other noise the tune of Happy Birthday. And the listeners were told they needed to guess, but they did not know the song the tapper was tapping. After the experiment, the listener was asked what song the tapper was tapping, and the tappers were asked whether they thought the listener would guess right or not. In this experiment, 80% of tappers thought the listeners would guess right, but only 5% of listeners actually guessed right. That's because it was really difficult for the tappers to hear the tapping without hearing a happy birthday in their head, so they did not realize that it didn't sound anything like happy birthday. This can be similar to your business idea. You may have been carrying this idea around for a long time and have trouble explaining it, even if you're running it successfully. It can create difficulties in explaining things, engaging people without overwhelming them, and being accessible. And so one of the things that we focus on most with at the SURE program is teaching you how to break down and communicate your ideas about your business in a way that are engaging to the right audience. Which comes to the next assumption, presentation. This is a grocery list. This is a recipe. And this is a menu. Each of these is just a list of food. However, if I were handed a grocery list at a restaurant, I'm not a chef and I would have no idea what I could order. Similarly, if someone were to give me a recipe on my way to the grocery store, as silly as it may seem, it would take me a long time to work out what I actually need to buy because I don't know where the portions are the same and I also don't know what's in my house. Finally, if someone was to send me to the grocery store with a menu, I would have a similar difficulty. But for each of their purposes, these things are going to work exactly as supposed to. You can make them better or worse, but generally, they will get the job done. That is how it works with a business plan. There are a lot of different business plan formats and a lot of different ways to organize the same amount of information. But in a business plan, you need to be clear about who you're writing the business plan for and for what purpose. And that is something that we're going to be able to help you do, to overcome the curse of knowledge, and then to research, find new information, and organize your current knowledge in such a way that the people who get a hold of your business plan will be able to read it the way that you intended. Finally, I want to make a quick point about nonprofits. Namely, nonprofit is harder than for-profit. A lot of people mistakenly think that nonprofit means it doesn't have to make money. That is not true. To explain, allow me to make a point about the distinction between revenue and profit and how important it is. Revenue just means money coming in to an organization. Anything they sell or any money they raise is revenue, for the most part. We'll explain some differences much later in the class, but that's what you need to know for now. After money comes in, An organization then has to pay for certain things. These are expenses. The revenue is used to pay for the expenses. With the money left over, they are allowed, in the case of a business, to distribute it to the owners. The money that goes to the owners is profit. So revenue comes in, is used to pay for expenses, then profit is distributed to the owners. The difference between a business and a nonprofit is not that a nonprofit doesn't have to make revenue. It does. It has to raise a lot of money. It is that a nonprofit is not allowed to distribute the profits to its owners because it does not have to pay taxes, and the tax man always gets his due. The way that the government makes sure that a nonprofit isn't distributing money to the owners is through very intense financial reporting. So the standards and requirements of reporting for nonprofits is much more so than a business. Again, a lot of people mistakenly think starting a nonprofit is easier than starting a business. This is not true. This is not to discourage you from starting a nonprofit, but just to say that if the reason you're thinking of a nonprofit is because you don't know how to raise revenue, then it is incorrect to think that you will not need to raise revenue with a nonprofit. You will. You will just not be able to keep the profit after you pay expenses. It would be good to get out a pen or a piece of paper or something else to write with for this next section. Next, we're going to talk about an elevator pitch. Why is it called an elevator pitch? Well, a pitch is basically when you're trying to sell an idea. It doesn't have to be a hard sell. It's just to bring it up for, food for thought. The reason it's called an elevator pitch is the idea is, imagine you get on an elevator with someone else. You press the button to go to your floor, and she asks, "What do you do?" The reason that you craft an elevator pitch is so that you can answer what you do before the elevator gets to your floor. So it's a quick, less than 10-second speech about what you do. We have a formula that we like to use at SURE, and that we're going to require all the entrepreneurs in the SURE program use to write their elevator pitch. That formula goes like this, and I will be using my elevator pitch that I use when I talk about the SURE program to illustrate how it works. My name is blank. My name is Charlie Becker. I am the blank of blank. I am the managing director of the SURE program. We help blank, our target customer. We help current and aspiring entrepreneurs with or who blank a specific problem, who want to start or grow a small business by blank what you're good at or your value proposition by giving them the skills, knowledge, and network they need to do so at no cost to them. So if I got an elevator with someone, they said, "Hey, what do you do?" I'd say, "Oh, I'm Charlie Becker. I'm the managing director of the SURE program. We help current and aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start or grow a small business by giving them the skills, knowledge, and network they need to do so at no cost to them." It's a little bit of a mouthful, and mine is a bit on the long end, close to 10 seconds. Yours should be shorter. But by now you have a great idea of what I do. There are a few tips for writing good elevator pitches, such as make it specific enough that it can be used for referrals. If I wanted to, I could say, "My name is Charlie Becker, and I help people grow their dreams at University of Houston," which sounds cool, but if a busy person hears that, they're just going to be like, "Oh, cool, yeah, cool." They're not going to really dig further and find out what I do, and if that's all they hear, they may not be able to tell me about their friend or their brother or sister or child who has a great business idea and could really use the SURE program, because it's not specific enough that they can use it for referrals. Make it relevant to your business. A lot of people have an elevator pitch, and at first they write it about how they want to be seen rather than how it works for their business. But you want to make sure that it's talking about your business and not just your broader why. It should be under 10 seconds. Mine, again, is a little bit long. I'm sure you can make yours shorter, but if you can't, then it should definitely be under 10 seconds. It is not a sales pitch. It is for prospecting, which is the first part of making a sale. Do not worry about closing, which is the last part of making a sale, in your introduction. Nobody wants you to be pushy, right? It's not about tricking them. It's not about trying to get them to buy what you're selling. It's about giving them enough information so that if they might be a potential customer, or if they know a potential customer, they might get interested. And finally, if you want to make it advanced, you might add a follow-up question, such as, do you know a target customer or who with have a specific problem? I would say, do you know a current or aspiring entrepreneur who wants to start a business? The number of times I've used this elevator pitch and actually got someone referred into the SURE program counts in the hundreds. And you can do the same for your business, even if it's very specific. Or if you're talking to someone who's not your target customer, structuring your elevator pitch in this way could actually be really helpful for you finding future customers. In your online application, it will ask you for your elevator pitch. So I highly recommend that you pause the video for a short time right now and write down a draft of the elevator pitch. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good enough to show that you are watching the video and understand the general idea. Your consultant and the professors will help you craft the elevator pitch in the class. So please pause now. Now we're going to talk about the business model canvas. The business model canvas is a very special 9-part way to understand a business through visual representation. This is what a whole business model canvas looks like, but we're just going to do 2 sections today to show you how it might help. As we're doing this, I want you to take notes about what I'm saying and write them down, because the online application will ask you to produce 2 sections of the business model canvas. The first section we're going to talk about has the green star in it. It's called customer segments. Customer as in people that pay you, and segments as in parts of a whole. Customer segments are the different groups of people or organization an enterprise or business aims to reach and serve. Customer groups represent separate segments if the needs of the customers require and justify a distinct offer or way to satisfy those needs. The customers are reached through different distribution channels if you advertise or deliver products or services to them in different ways. They require different types of relationships, meaning that you talk to some customers differently than others, or they have substantially different profitabilities, meaning that some are worth more than others, or they are willing to pay for different aspects of the offer, as in some prefer certain products or services while others prefer others. The big question here is, for whom are we creating value as a business? There are a few different ways to describe customer segments and what kind of business you have according to customer segments. But first, you need to understand who are our most important customers. That will give you insight into how your business operates. One type of customer segment is a mass market. That's focused on one large group with broadly similar needs and problems. To be honest, the odds of you being a mass market business in the SURE program are extremely low. I don't think we've ever had one truly mass market business. An example would be like the iPhone, where millions of people buy pretty much the same thing without really any customization or difference. Many of you will be a niche market. As they say, riches in niches. This is a highly specific need and supported model, meaning there's a specific specialized segment. One great way to see niche markets are dating sites, like farmersonly.com. City folks just don't get it. It's online dating for farmers. There's a lot of great examples in dating websites where they find a very specific type of people who want to connect with very specific people similar to them. This is a niche market where there's a highly specific needs and the model supports those needs. A little more complex is a segmented market, which is slightly different value proposition for different groups. Think of Chase Banking. There's retail banking. Maybe you have $5,000 saved up and you just go in and you talk to the manager and get in line with everyone else. But there's also high-end wealth management, where someone who has $2 million in the bank at Chase is going to have their own personal banker who's going to contact them and help them with their needs and set appointments and meet them out for dinner somewhere. Basically, it's a different value proposition, but it's only slightly, because really what's happening is that both of you are putting your money to be held by Chase, but they are segmenting you into different segments, or perhaps you're the $2 million person. I don't know. We've had a few millionaires watch this video before, and many future millionaires watch this video. But the point is that it's a slightly different value proposition for different groups. Then there's diversify, which is two highly differentiated segments. One of the great examples here is Amazon Prime versus Amazon Web Services. One is quite literally for consumers, while the other is for businesses. But the back end is very similar. They're logistics businesses. Finally, there's a multi-sided platform, which means there's different segments, but they interact. Like Facebook has advertisers and users, or the SURE program has consultants and entrepreneurs. When you're thinking about this, and on the application when it asks you who your customer segments are, it's better to describe your actual customers than to get bogged down in the details and try to figure out which of these you are. That might be good, but really it's better to just show that you understand who your customers are. Next, we're going to talk about value proposition. Value proposition is the bundle of products and services that create value for a specific customer segment, or the reason why customers turn to one company over another. Some value propositions may be innovative and represent a new or disruptive offer. Others may be similar to existing market offers but with added features and attributes. Hint, this is most SURE entrepreneurs. It's okay to not be the hottest new thing on the block. A lot of times the best way to make money and have a successful business is to find something that's already successful and try it in a new place or just tweak it slightly. Some of you may have very earth-shatteringly innovative ideas, but if you're just trying a new business model in a different area or just a slight tweak to an old business model, that's a great way to start on your way to business success and building wealth. One way to think about this is to use a high concept pitch. A high concept pitch is a way to make an idea easily accessible to people. It comes from Hollywood when they're pitching movies. The classic example is the movie Alien. When the director and producer wanted to make Alien, they went to the studio and they said, "It's like Jaws, but in space." Often, you will hear apps pitched as, "It's like Uber for blank." This is how you want to think of your idea. A lot of entrepreneurs are in love with their idea and think it's the most creative thing ever. But it's actually a lot of work to hear someone explain their idea and not just get a simple explanation for it. So it's a really good idea to get a high concept pitch for your value proposition. Why do people pay you? You say, well, my business is like blank for blank. It's like this, but for that. And that's a high concept pitch for your business. That's a great way to explain the value proposition. In order to figure out what your value propositions are, here are 4 helpful clarifying questions. What value do we deliver to the customer? Which one of our customers' problems are we helping to solve? Which customer needs are we satisfying? And finally, what bundles of products and services are we offering to each customer segment? There are a lot of different ways to think about your value proposition. Here are a few reasons people might find what you're offering valuable. Newness, performance, customization, getting the job done, design, brand or status, price, cost reduction, risk reduction, accessibility, or convenience or usability, right? So if I were to say to you, which of these value propositions belongs to Walmart? Many of you would say price. And what if I were to say brand or status, right? Most of you know Walmart has really great low price items, but it's not a high status place. But what about if I were to say, what is the value proposition of Louis Vuitton? That is the brand or status, not the price, not cost reduction. Okay? What about if I were to say Apple products? There's a lot of different answers for Apple products. If you're one of the people who waits in line, you might love the newness. You might love the design of the products. You might love the usability. Most people would probably not say the customization. For that, they would want Windows or Android, right? What if I were to make it a little more complicated and say something like Ross, the clothing store? Most people like Ross because it's low price, but they get clothes from the other stores, so you might get a good brand clothing there as well. These are a few different ways to think about your value proposition to combine these. And I'm going to give you a hint. If you're thinking about enrolling in the SURE program, then this ain't it. If you try to compete on price or cost reduction as a small business, I feel pretty confident saying you will always lose. If you find out your friend or family member is starting a business and you ask them, oh man, that's great, why do people buy from you? And they say, well, because I'm cheaper. Then you don't think about how well oiled the machine is running or how organized they are. You just wonder where they're cutting corners. And then as you get bigger, it'll be hard to keep those prices low as you add more costs. So don't try to compete on low cost or low price. Find other ways to sell people on what you're doing, because it's always easy to get outcompeted as a small business on low price. Finally, let's talk about how to apply to the SURE program. There are a few crucial things to know before you apply. You can do the application on your computer or phone. Make sure you have all your business information ready, as well as your partner information. You don't have to apply with a partner, but if you do, you need to at least know their name and contact info, and they will also have to fill out an application on their own. All the demographic information we collect is confidential. We will never share your name and education status and income anywhere. It is simply for our own private records. Business information will be used to put you in groups and assign you mentors and consultants. So if we ask you what your value proposition is, or if you've ever made a profit, that will be shared, but only with your consultant and with the other SURE professors, not publicly. You also need to figure out what your approximate 2020 household income was before you start the application. This is also confidential, but it is important for us to collect this in order to gather future funding for the program. Finally, it should take 20 minutes to an hour when you do the application. So please get ready, sit down, and prepare to have it take a minute. These are the steps to apply. Make sure you wrote down your elevator pitch, value proposition, target customer segment, as well as 2020 household income and partner contact info if you have a partner. When you have watched all the necessary videos, click the link in this video description and apply online. Check the application deadline in the video description on the official SURE website or by emailing sureinfo@uh.edu. If you do not hear back, then you can assume that you did not get in. Unfortunately, we have too many applications to let each person know individually. Before you finally apply, there are a few final words I want to share with you about the SURE program and your application. First, this is a big commitment. People who are not serious will be dropped from the program, so please make sure that you have the time and energy to commit to this program. It will take you 3 to 4 hours when you're in class and as many as 8 hours when you're not in class. So if you don't have about 12 hours a week to dedicate to this, then maybe send us an email, let us know you're interested and apply in a different semester. This will reflect positively on you to show that you've thought about it. What you get out might not be what you want. Be flexible because we want you to succeed. Sometimes people come in with a very specific idea of what they want to do, and after all they learn, they realize that idea is not as good as they thought. But then they take the skills, knowledge, and network, and they go and start another successful business, or find the job of their dreams, or do something they hadn't even thought of. So please, just be flexible, take what you learn, and try and be a success, but be willing to be coached by the people in the program. Finally, if you're not certain you're ready, there's some other places to go first that we partner with. These are all really fantastic organizations. Houston Area Urban League Small Business Development University is a phenomenal program that runs about as long as SURE, where they have classes once a week on a bunch of different topics. We highly recommend you check them out. The University of Houston Small Business Development Center has classes on specific topics, and you can also talk to people about how to get a loan. SCORE, or the Service Corps of Retired Executives, has mentors who will meet with you online and occasionally in person to teach you about specific business topics and help you work on a very specific area. And finally, HCC has a ton of different programs. That's Houston Community College has a ton of different programs for starting or growing a small business. These are all great programs. At Sure, we require you to do a lot of work, and so if you want to kind of get your feet wet and learn a little bit more, please look into some of these. If you don't get in and you decide to enroll in one of these, and then you put on your next application that you enrolled in one of these, that reflects very well on your application. And thus concludes our video, our application online orientation. Please do not forget to check the application deadline and any other materials in the video description. If you have any questions, email sureinfo@uh.edu. We wish you the very best of luck in your application and in any future entrepreneurial endeavors.